evening. Welcome to our program, Women to Women. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and as we always promise, we have a very special lady with us tonight. But before I introduce you to her, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this first half. I'd like to thank Dr. Kent Gabriel, a noted physician, plastic surgeon with a specialty in microsurgery for hands. We are very fortunate to have him live in our community as well as practice in our community. So he's one of a very few kind of specialists, Dr. Kent Gabriel. I'd also like to thank the Horseshoe Club right here in downtown Carson City in the heart of the historic district. If you'd like an evening or a lunch or just a get reacquainted with the Old West, step into the Horseshoe Club and you're not going to be disappointed. We'd also like to thank Bank of the West. It's a local bank right here in Carson City and their customer service is superb. If you like to have your name known, you like to be greeted when you walk into a local bank, Bank of the West is the one to seek out. So let me introduce you to Janet Geary. She's publisher of the Nevada Magazine, a long-standing publication here in the West. So help me greet her. Thank you for being with us tonight, Janet.
Thank you for having me.
You know, as a retired teacher and as a retired traveler, I still travel a lot, it's great to work with someone and to introduce someone that has been in the community and in this business for a long time. Your expertise and your experience, we hope you share a lot of it with us.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So Janet, help us get acquainted with you in the sense that where do you come from originally?
Oh gosh, I was born in Wisconsin, but my parents moved to Las Vegas in 1951. So when I was
the heyday.
Young, the heyday of Las Vegas, yes. And so I grew up in Las Vegas with my brothers and sisters. We all grew up there, went to high school and college in Las Vegas. And then I moved to the northern part of the state back in the 80s. So I've lived in Nevada almost my entire life.
You certainly have. Well, now, tell us about the 1950s in Las Vegas. What was it like growing up there as a kid?
Well, you know, it wasn't really any different than any place else. My father was in construction, so he went there to build hotels and build underground utilities for the city. And so we really had a very normal life. We lived up in the suburbs and didn't hardly even know the casinos were there. And, you know, as we grew up, going to high school and college in Las Vegas, it was really very normal. People, you know, I went places and people go, oh, do you really have houses in Las Vegas? You know, and but it was just a normal upbringing. There's 11 kids in my family, so I come from a really big family. And we all grew up there. I mean, it was, you know, just it was a very good place to grow up in the 50s and 60s.
All right, so with that many brothers and sisters, in fact, how many brothers, how many sisters?
7 brothers and 3 sisters.
7 brides for 7
Yes.
brothers.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so you really didn't have to look for playmates or for things to do. I mean, you were a built-in theme park.
Oh yeah, we were. In fact, we'd go places and people thought we were like a Sunday school group or something because we'd all pile out of a van, you know, and go somewhere together. But my mother had 6 children in 7 years, so this older 6 of us are just a year apart. And so yeah, we had all kinds of people growing up to you know, to play with and to go to school with.
Oh yes. What are some of the key, now, when you look back on your childhood, having, you know, a large family like that, it's an inspiration, but it's also a living world of lessons.
Yes, it is.
What are some of the most advantageous or helpful practical lessons coming out of a family of that size?
Well, I'm the oldest. Okay. So I raised a lot of my brothers and sisters. And
did they behave?
Not always, no. So, you know, my parents both worked, and so I was kind of responsible for a lot of their, you know, upbringing, their homework, things like that. So I think I learned how to be a really good mom, and only had 1 child of my own, but he never did anything that surprised me, and he could never pull anything over on me because I already had seen all that when my brothers and sisters were growing up. So,
and you know, it was a built-in management program for you as well. Learning how to manage personalities. Yes. It's kind of like having your own classroom.
I think so. You know, I think growing up that way, you learned how to deal with all different kinds of personalities, all different kinds of people. And I think that's really helped me because I've been in publishing now for 30 years and been a boss for most of that time. And I've dealt with everyone's from millennials and Gen Xers and all that, all the way up to, you know, the baby boomers like me, and so and you have to teach or treat everybody different. You know, I mean, they're all looking for something different, and so that makes it a challenge. But I think I've learned how to do that.
And that's so. What do I want to say? It's not only precious, but it's a commodity. It's a treasure that you have there with that kind of background that brought you into almost an instantaneous management position, responsibility.
Yes. Well, my third grade teacher told my mother I was a really good student, but I was really bossy, and I think that's probably what's carried me through all my years later. You know, in my staff right now at Nevada Magazine, I have 8 people. There's 8 people in my staff. We have one 20-year-old, 2 30-year-olds, 2 40-year-olds, 2 50-year-olds, and me. So we've got
generational.
So yes, we have a real, you know, we just cover the whole entire gamut of people that are still working in this country
and that's
today.
great because you're handing down and they're handing up challenges, situations that you have to talk over and work out with. But what a great framework of reference.
I think it's helped the magazine a lot because we come from all different backgrounds, we have all different interests. And so you know, I come from, I think, the reader's background. I always try to be the reader and make sure that what we're telling people is something I understand. If I understand it, then I think that the readers will understand it. I won't let my editors use big words, you know, because they like to do that where, you know, it's a word that they know but nobody else does.
The general public is uncomfortable with that.
Exactly. So we write for the people that read us. I think that's that I think has really made us successful. And
in this day and age, that's a remarkable thing to be able to say, longevity of success.
Yes. Yeah, the magazine's been published continuously since 1936. We were actually off for a couple years during World War II. That's the only time the magazine did not publish. So we started out as Highways and Parks, Nevada Highways and Parks, and the magazine's initial job was to tell people about the highways that were being built in Nevada at the time. You know, Nevada was obviously very in its early stages, and they were building a lot of highways during that time.
And that was thanks to President Eisenhower, who was coming along.
Yes, absolutely. And so they were just to let people, the magazine was actually started to let people know what's happening in their own state. And now it's kind of progressed. Now that we're Nevada Magazine, we're really a double functioning magazine. We're for the people that live in the state, but we're also for people that are visiting, that travel from other places. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And that would be one of the most trusted guidelines with a longevity, with a history of that beginning all the way up until now. People would trust that, I would think, very much.
Oh, I hope so. You know, I certainly think so. We get a lot of really good response to the magazine, to the stories that we do. Right now we're doing sesquicentennial issues. We have 8 of them that we've planned that are telling the history of the state from before statehood until present time. And we're doing our 5th one right now, and I'll tell you, I've learned a lot that I didn't know about the state. We have a great writer that's doing the entire series, and he's doing a fabulous job. And like I say, I've learned a lot about the presidents that visited here, and you know, things that went on that I had no idea before.
Well, you know, I'm going to try and help our audience catch up with you. So when you graduated in Las Vegas, did you know that you really liked writing at that time?
Oh, no. Oh, no. No, so, actually, my degree's in accounting.
That's good for business.
It is for business. And I never really was interested. And, you know, really my job is more the business end of the magazine. And I just grew a love for publishing over the years that I was in newspaper. I was in newspaper for a little over 20 years and worked for the Record Courier in Minden Gardnerville. I was the publisher there. I worked at the Nevada Appeal. I managed a daily newspaper on the Oregon coast for a while. So, I mean, and I learned to love the writing and the publishing of the news. And you know, we are not a news organization anymore. We're certainly not, but the
You're talking about
the magazine. You know, and anymore newspapers are becoming more and more local news because there's so much on the internet that for them to stay competitive, they have to really be very local. And the magazine's kind of like that. I mean, we still have a very large, I think, amount of readers that are very loyal to what we do. Because, you know, even though we're on the internet, NevadaMagazine.com, we are, our readers love the magazine itself, the physical magazine.
You know, I have to, and I like the internet, okay? I'm learning to become more and more comfortable with it. And for the help, the information, quick at hand that I can receive from it. But there is something about picking up the touch of the paper, the feel of the paper, the smell of the paper, the flipping the pages, okay? And it draws me in. So those of us who grew up on reading materials, I think we're going to be around a long time. But let me ask you this question. Do you see the demise completely one day of the written, of the paper published?
Yes. I think so. It won't be in our lifetime, thank goodness, because it would devastate me, because I've been such an advocate of the printed product. But you know, my son is an internet guy. He actually runs Oregon.com, the website in Portland, Oregon, and he's always said to me, even when he was young, Mom, I'm just not interested in reading a newspaper. I go online, and I think that's the generation that is, you know, coming after us.
Yes.
That they want the information so quickly. That, you know, eventually they won't wait for a magazine to come out every other month and tell them the things to do in Nevada. Everything will be online. It will be very interactive, where, you know, you can go online and I could be talking to you saying, hey, you know, go here, see this. I just went and did this. In fact, we even do that now. We have a lot of videos on our site. We have a lot of people that blog and talk about where they've been and what they're doing, put photos online, you know, and yes, I think that eventually, probably I would say within the next 20, 30 years, the printed word, the magazines, the physical newspapers will not be here
if not
any longer.
Sooner.
Yes.
If not sooner. We're coming right back because you made a statement that you just simply fell in love. And I have some more questions to ask on that, okay? We'll be right back. Don't go away.
I was 36, wanted to do something that was boldly different. We sold our house, drove west with the idea that we were going to be in the wine industry. We lived in a teepee for 2 months.
I mean, if you're going to do something, why not do it with your whole heart?
It's that creative outlet of being able to make something, and make something that comes from the land. Bank of the West said, we have complete faith in your brand. Don't do anything to compromise it. Banks don't say things like that.
Apex SEF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
Come to the Carson Horseshoe Club for fun and friendly service. Play your favorite games, join our Players Club where you get cash for points plus food comps, and enjoy casual dining in our Lucky Horse Grill. Get it all in the heart of downtown Carson City at the family-owned, local favorite Carson Horseshoe Club.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lincoln with CarsonCityHomes.com, Carson City's original online real estate resource.
At CarsonCityHomes.com, you get effective and easy-to-use tools to help you select your next home today. With our easy-to-use website, you can search listings throughout Northern Nevada and narrow the results by selecting every facet, quirk, and quality you desire. Visit CarsonCityHomes.com. Welcome back to the second part of our program, Women to Women. We're here with Janet Geary, who is the publisher of the Nevada Magazine, and we're going to show you some of her works that she's brought along. But before we do that, I'd like to thank again our sponsors for the second half of the show. We'd like to thank Villa Bass Deli and Cafe, home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo. It is delicious. Stop in. We'd also like to thank Carpa Nevada LLC. importer of fine Portuguese olive oils, aged balsamic vinegar, and international health teas. And finally, but not last in terms of importance, carsonnow.org, which is the 24/7 place that when anything is happening here in Carson City, they're the first ones to have it, carsonnow.org. So let's return to Janet. Janet, welcome again.
Thank you.
You know, my question, you had mentioned in the first half that you just fell in love, not with accounting necessarily, that's the business backbone of you, but with publishing.
Yes.
What makes publishing so near and dear to your heart?
Oh gosh, you know, when you write and you're able to share what you do with thousands and thousands of people, you really affect how they think about your state, about, you know, I'm so proud of Nevada. I'm so proud to live here. You know, I don't know the history of a lot of different states, but I know Nevada history inside and out because I've written about it, I've studied it, I've researched. For my book, you know, we did a book on for the sesquicentennial. It has 150 photos. It's a photo book from the last 150 years of Nevada. And it's a hardcover book. It's beautiful. The photos are amazing. It's in chronological order. All the photos are a sepia tone photo, and I researched them all. It was so much fun. And
daunting.
It was
challenge.
to begin with, finding the right photos.
Yes.
And then, but being able to research those, as you said, in the internet now, you can research anything. And looking at those, I was able to find old, locomotives, old cars, old people. You know, Wyatt Earp was
he's one of my favorite.
A bartender, a bar owner in Tonopah. You know, and I didn't even know that. There's pictures of like Ulysses S. Grant, the former president, down in the mines in Virginia City. Bing Crosby is in here, and he had a ranch in the Ely area.
Yes.
He was a gentleman farmer, and all these photos are in there, and it was so fun to actually research that and find out all that information.
And again, looking back through old publications, touching them. I love it. Okay.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Nevada Magazine. Now, you've shared it since 1936.
Yes.
And actually, the war was just starting to get underway in Europe, but it hadn't touched here yet.
Yes, it was. And this was originally for the highways and parks, Nevada Highways and Parks. And it was a form to tell people about the highways in the state of Nevada. But as things progressed, it was out of publication for 2 years during World War II. Then it came back, and it has been published every month since then. And we, I mean, we're so proud of it. It's got gorgeous photos. It's got things to do on the weekends. It's got events, shows. We do all kinds of, you know, itineraries, like where people, if they want to go spend a weekend somewhere,
where do we pick this up at?
Well, it's in most of the grocery stores. It's on the newspaper, you know, and on the magazine racks, in the grocery stores, CVS Pharmacy, Costco, Walmart.
Beautiful.
And also, of course, they can get a subscription to the magazine, which obviously makes it a lot less to buy it. And they can go on NevadaMagazine.com to subscribe.
Okay, and then finally you've brought us something that's got to be near and dear to your heart as well.
It is. This is our 2014 calendar, and I brought you a couple. I hope you enjoy them. These are all photos from the 1860s. You know, I didn't even know
before the war, Civil War.
Well, 1860s, we were, you know, Nevada became a state in 1864. So because we're celebrating the sesquicentennial this year, we wanted to have all the photos from the very first, you know, here's the Capitol building. This is actually before they had all the trees, and now you can actually see the building. And that's what fascinates me, is the stories. It's like the fence that's around here. A woman contractor actually got the contract to build the fence around the Capitol. That fence still sits there. So all these stories are so interesting when you read about the people that actually formed the state, and it's just a fascinating history.
You know, these are beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing them. I have a penetrating question. Okay, you are full of vitality, full of aliveness, and we can tell the exuberance that you have for what you do is very special.
Yes.
So, is it contagious with your staff? How do you make sure that the staff that you've developed, you've interviewed, okay, you've told them, you know, what your expectations, your standards are. How do you know if they are responding to to those expectations?
Well, you know, I think it's people come to the magazine, they love it immediately. It's everyone is so proud to work there. I think that the thing that we all have in common is a love for the magazine. You know, in fact, right now I'm interviewing for an editor because unfortunately my editor, Matt Brown, who was with the magazine for 8 years, did a fantastic job. He received a job in City of Reno. He's now the information officer for the City of Reno. And he was, again, if anybody knew any more about Nevada than me, it was Matt. And he was so meticulous with the way that he did the magazine, the way that he put it together, and
the layout and all of it.
The layout and the way that, you know, I mean, he read it and edited it over and over and over. I mean, I don't know, I don't think, I know I've never found a word misspelled in Nevada Magazine since I've been there. And so, I mean, and most of that is attributed to Matt and his staff. And I can tell you that even if they don't love it when they come here, they will love it within just a very short time of being there. So I've never really worried about people loving the magazine. You know, that it's contagious. I hired an ad salesperson because we're a self-supporting magazine. We don't get money from the state, and so we have an ad salesperson that works for us. And Adele is I mean, she has just taken that on and run with it and doing a fantastic job. And you can just tell by talking to her that she loves the magazine and she loves what she's doing. And advertising sales is tough, you know, and it's not an easy job, but I hear it in her voice when she talks to people. It's an, you know, an infectious love for what we do. And like I say, if you don't love it when you take the job, you love it after you're there for a very short period of time.
You know, you remind me very much of Katharine Graham, who was the Washington Post.
Oh, is that right?
Publisher.
Oh, thank you for that compliment.
Well,
I know the name. Yes.
Yes, and that was a family name with the Washington Post for years and years. Do you think it's any tougher to be a woman and to be publisher of a major publication within the state than it would be for a man?
I don't think so. You know, I see all of these, you know, people worried about the, you know, the discrimination, and I'll tell you, I've been working almost 50 years, and I've never had a job where I felt that I was not equal to the men that worked with me or for me. And I've always, you know, I grew up with 7 brothers, and I was one of the guys, and, you know, and I grew up that way, and I just never have felt that. And I know I'm lucky, I know a lot of women have, but in the publishing industry, it's not, I don't think there's any discrimination. You see the women that are out there in the war zones, you know, the reporters and things like that. Yes,
helicopter pilots.
Exactly. I don't think that in this day and age, I know that women still make less than men in, you know, what they say are comparable jobs. But, you know, I've never had that. And I guess I can count myself very lucky. But I would not work under those conditions. and I've never worried about having a job. So, you know, there's always a place to go when you are in publishing. So that's a really nice thing. I hope that continues.
And those skills and experience that you have are so easily transferred into other areas, regardless whether it has to do with writing and or publishing or photography, because the skills that you bring from the years of working with people, researching, putting out something that has a standard to it, everybody wants.
Well, and you know, I plan to retire in the next couple of years, and you know, that's one of the things that I would really like to do is to volunteer with an organization to transfer some of that, to give back, because I've really felt very lucky in my career that I've been able to do what I've wanted to do.
Wisconsin is so sorry they lost you.
They didn't even know I was there. I slipped out when I was really young, but no, you know, I have a couple brothers that are attorneys, and in Las Vegas, and we talk all the time, and you know, they tell me, you know, you were very lucky to get into something that you really love
at the time too. At the time,
yes, absolutely, because
it's a good time for women.
It wasn't. There weren't a lot of women publishers, obviously, when I started in the business. You know, that's still when guys wore crew cuts and little bitty black ties. You know, but as the years went by, it was so much more acceptable to be a woman and be a boss. And I've had men work for me, you know, throughout my career, and I've never had, and worked for men, and I've never had anyone that didn't, you know, treat me with respect and kindness, and I hope I do the same.
Yes, yes, you do. It's there, it's there. I have a final question. When all of you get together as brothers and sisters, now, how do your sisters, what did they decide to do with some of their talents?
Oh gosh, my two sisters are retired now, even though they're younger than me. They retired early, and then my youngest sister, she's 20 years younger than me. She's my baby sister, and she's the same age as my son. And she's she manages a bath remodeling facility. So all of my sisters and most of my brothers mostly have been IT guys, internet guys. They are all self-employed, every single one of my brothers. I always say it's because nobody will hire them, but they are entrepreneurial guys, and they've always been self-employed. So I think, you know, we get together as a family, and we try to do that. My parents have both passed away, unfortunately, but we get together as a family probably once a year, and of course we're always trying to outdo each other, you know. But there's still a lot of
and that's a natural thing in a family of 11 or 12 or 13. I knew one family back in New York with 13, and they're all successful because they had to prove to each other they had what it took.
And to our parents too.
Yes.
You know, it was that way.
I want to say thank you so much, Janet, for sharing your time, sharing your expertise, and I know that the audience has picked up some great lessons from you without even, you know, presenting it to them. So we look forward to seeing you in Carson City and about.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And thank you, audience, for being with us tonight. We'll be back next week with a very special lady, as always. Take care and have a good night.
In the early days of Nevada Magazine, which was Nevada Highways and Parks, the editors and photographers would travel around the state, interview people, write stories, and that's essentially what we're doing today. We're getting out there and meeting people and asking them about their travels in Nevada. The common theme over 77 years with the magazine has been that we're connected to the people, and we're connected to the readers. And we do that by writing stories and taking photos and getting out there, putting ourselves in the shoes of the tourists. The more you see in Nevada, the more you love it. And there are so many places in the state that people don't know about, and that's our job, is to show those places in writing and photos. We have a staff of 8 here at Nevada Magazine, so we have a small staff and we do a lot. As far as putting the magazine together, it starts with a story concept, and then we have to see it through to the end with writing and photographs. We use freelance photographers, we use freelance writers, we write a lot in-house, and we take a lot of photos in-house. Should we go with that thing? Internationally, people love Nevada. And I think it's the draw of the Wild West, it's the ghost towns, it's the wide open country. And so that's good for us in a business sense because people from all over the world subscribe. We reach people via print and web, and social media has caught on in recent years. We have many followers on Facebook, Twitter, Google+.
Else do you have a story, or if you'd like to?
We get handwritten notes, messages on social media, emails, and it's always along the lines of they read a story in Nevada Magazine and it was the impetus for them to travel around the state. And a lot of times it's about what a great time they had and how they want to come back and how they're so thankful that we did that article on that particular place. If you love Nevada, you want to subscribe to Nevada Magazine. We do 6 issues a year, and each issue is a new journey into the Silver State. You learn about the people and the places, and it's going to make you want to travel around the state. In addition, we do the Nevada Historical Calendar every year, which is a connection to the state's past. And then we do special projects such as the 75th Anniversary Edition and the Historical Nevada Book. There's amazing things to see in the state, and you can read about them in Nevada Magazine and also NevadaMagazine.com.